If everyone if everyone wants to start taking a seat, we're going to go ahead and get started in a few minutes. Alrighty. Well, thank you everyone for coming to our retail certificate. We can just go ahead and get started. Maybe. Okay, so this past weekend, we went to Chicago for the International Collegiate Conference, and I'm just gonna do this recap video because I think it does a great job of showing our weekend. And shout out to Maya Robertson for making this awesome video.
AMA-ICC. Welcome to the city. We're going shopping. We're going to the Magnificent Mile. We are now headed to dinner. We're at the train station buying our tickets.
It's all fine. Making quiet calculations where the fall lies. It's just a little land. It's strong hand.
Hey y'all, we are now at the AMA conference. We are currently waiting to compete. And so we're excited for the comp. Yes. Are you excited for the comp? Yes. Just finished the competition. We're going, but we're gonna figure it out. Hey vlog. Michael, say hi to the vlog. No. Oh.
Strong hand and a sound mind. It makes me smile to know when things get hard. Ooh, you'll be far. Ooh, you'll be far from here.
Hey y'all, today is the day.
Ooh, you'll be far.
What does AMA mean to you?
Building my network, leadership,
new opportunities,
connections.
adventure,
Family,
collaboration,
opportunity for me to connect with like-minded people.
Connections, new opportunities.
Lifelong friendships.
We can grow together in order to achieve better outcomes for not only our major, but also everything that we aspire to do in this world.
Creativity.
Fun! We ain't angry at you, love. We'll be waiting for we love. I had a dream so big and loud. I jumped so high, I touched the clouds. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I stretched my hands out to the sky. We danced with monsters through the night. I'm never gonna look back. Whoa, I'm never gonna give it up. No, please don't wake me now. This is gonna be the best day of my life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. For always.
Okay, so that was just a super awesome recap of our weekend. So we do travel to this competition every single year. This year it was in Chicago, but usually it's in New Orleans. So if you aren't super involved in AMA right now, that would be a super great thing to work towards because we go every year and it's always super fun. So here is all of us. We had over 40 people. It was a super fun weekend. And our case team took first, which is the first time it's happened since 2019. Woohoo! Um, And for those of you that don't know, we actually start working on it in the fall, or in this case, we're going to start working on next year's pretty soon here. And then we compete against 110 schools. Around 10 or 11 make it to finals, and then you present at the competition. And this year's sponsor was the MLB, which was really fun. So yeah, congrats to the Case team and everyone that was involved in that. Here's some quick updates. Obviously, next week is spring break, so we won't have any meeting. And then we'll have a digital certificate the week after, and then an AMA PSC perfect pitch. And then our pro bono day kickoff, social causes certificate. And then we'll have an AMA cookout towards the end of the year where everyone is welcome and it'll be really fun. So now we will get into our certificate. Thank you to our partners, Steinhoffels and Sherwin-Williams, for being here today. And of course, Dave Martin, our moderator. Yeah, so I will welcome up Dave and we will go ahead and get started.
All right, thanks everybody for coming out. Excited to have you guys here. Excited to moderate this panel. We've got two of our great partners with us. We've got Sherwin-Williams and Steinhoffels with us tonight. And we'll be focusing on the retail side of business, the retail side of sales, and the retail side of marketing. So we're going to start on the left and work our way to the right. Kathy Geyer and Mike Langford from Steinhoffels. Tell us a little bit about Steinhoffels, a little bit about yourselves individually, like how long you've been with the organization, what your positions are.
Can you all hear me? Perfect. So yeah, we're from Steinhoffels Furniture. We originally started off as a company out of Wisconsin. We've now introduced ourselves into Indiana at this point. We're in 3 different states, taking over the Chicago market as well. But we're both store managers at Steinhoffels. I've been there for about 6 years, and I've probably told a handful of you this in your own classes in the past, but when I first came to Steinhoffels, the thing that really drew me was interview after interview, greet after greet. I continued to meet individuals that had told me they were with the company for 10, 12, 20, 30, 40 years. And so I just really thought this company has to be doing something right if it's still meeting the needs of all of these individuals, over those spans of time. So great work-life balance. We are always looking for interns. So it is a sales and leadership internship. I see Joe in the back there. He's going to be joining us in a couple of weeks. Excited to have you. But otherwise, we're always looking for sales professionals. So if that is something that you feel passionate about or think you have a good skill set in, we can definitely chat afterwards.
There we go. Hi, my name is Mike. Mike Langford. I'm a store manager with Steinhoffels, just like Kathy, and I've been with the company for a little over 4.5 years. But I really like it. What drew me to Steinhoffels was the work-life balance. Retail can be a grind, but they really do take care of you here. We have great time off options, paid vacation, everything like that, and just the opportunity to be able to. So I've worked in almost 5 years, I've worked at 7 different locations. So I found if you get into whatever industry that you decide, if you're open to saying yes when asked upon you, more opportunities will become available to you. So I'm from the Chicagoland market. I live in Madison, Wisconsin now. It's been quite the move for me. And but yeah, that's what I would recommend is find ways to say yes, and it can take you different places.
All right, thanks, Mike. Next up, we've got Sherwin-Williams with us, who has both a vibrant B2B and B2C sides to their business. So we're going to quiz you guys about the B2C side tonight. First up, Tommy Welch, and then sitting next to Tommy is Matt Nelson.
Hi, everyone. Thank you guys for being here and having us here as well. We appreciate your time and attention. But I'm Tommy Welch. I am a UW Whitewater alum. I graduated here in 2019, so I was in the very seats that you guys are in now. I was also in some of the same competitions that you guys are doing now. So I'm with Sherwin-Williams. I'm a commercial branch manager here in the Madison area. So I'm dealing with some of the largest commercial contractors for any of the new apartment complexes, commercial warehouses, Amazon facilities, anything of large scale. That's primarily what I'm dealing with. I've been with the company for almost 7 years. It'll be this year in May. I did my internship opportunity here through Sherwin-Williams as well. I actually found where I am today just due to partners in the classroom. I wasn't expecting to work in the retail setting. I started out as a chemistry major with a pre-pharmacy emphasis, switched my major to integrated science and business. Um, Came across Sherwin-Williams and told them what I was looking for and headed down that path, and it's been rewarding ever since. So, uh, some of the biggest things in terms of our company and history of our company, we've been around for over 150 years, over 64,000 employees, and we're a Fortune 200 company. Some of the biggest things that I appreciate about the company is being able to have an idea of creating my own path and having a career progression. I originally started out in the Milwaukee area, and from there, I've been able to progress my career from assistant manager to a store manager to a sales rep, and now to a commercial branch manager dealing with higher volume customer bases. So that's a little bit about my background. We are also looking for anywhere between part-time, full-time internship opportunities for the summer, and then also our management and training program for postgraduate opportunities as well. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Matthew. Like Tommy, I'm an alum here. I graduated back in December of 23, so hasn't been too long, but like Tommy as well, I also found Sherwin through an internship I got here from the partners in the classroom. Uh, there's a lot that drew me into it, from the work environment to the day to day. Up until I graduated, I really wasn't planning on working retail, but a lot of the stuff like the benefits, a lot of the progression up through the company, Sherwin likes to promote from within. So, I mean, I jumped from a assistant before I even graduated here to a manager within 6 months. I've been running the store down in Beloit for a while. Mostly I deal with more residential, so people who will take jobs coming in to paint your house, not as much commercial. But I also get a pretty good population of homeowners that come through. Sherwin's been a great company to work for, and it's given me opportunities to come up and talk to you guys today.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it. There will be time at the end for questions from the audience. So think of your questions as we go along. In case I missed something, feel free to throw a hand up and we'll see if we can get to you guys and get some questions in before we're done. I want to start out with you, Kathy, and Tommy and Matt both talked about this a little bit. So we'll jump back to you guys in the end, but tell me a little bit about your road to retail, right? Like how did we get here? What attracted you to the job? What keeps you where you're at?
So when I was sitting in your guys' seats, I'm actually out from Oregon State. So I was sitting in my seat at Portland State, and I was a senior in college, getting ready to graduate that next spring, and I got a random part-time job in a jewelry store. So I really fell in love with the process of just helping guests come in, find their engagement ring, right? Fall in love, kind of celebrate that big moment. And so that company ended up asking me to move out here to Wisconsin when they had an opportunity to relocate. I ended up doing some inventory projects for them and kind of managing things on the back end. And eventually I moved to Michigan to help Kessler's Diamonds open up. I was out there for like 3 years, met my now husband. We together relocated to the Milwaukee market. So it's just been like 19, 20 years now of retail. I love it though, the management part of it, the people, getting to develop individuals and helping them reach their own goals. It's just the best.
So it wasn't always the industry that you're in either. It's always been retail, but industry changes along the way as well. Michael, you said you've been with Steinhoffels for 6 years,
Almost 5 years.
almost 5 years.
Prior to Steinhoffels, I was with a company in the Chicagoland market, another furniture company called Art Van Furniture. And like many businesses in 2020, they ended up going out of business. It was pretty sad. But prior to that, I was a student like all of you. I went to Western Illinois University. I originally wanted to be a police officer, and then 3 years into the program, I decided that's change majors. I don't think I want to do that anymore. And so I decided I'd always worked in bars and restaurants, and so I I got a degree in hospitality management, and with the thoughts of I'm going to run a resort, I'm going to be the food and beverage director for uh, Rivers Casino in Chicago or what have you. And I was kind of in between, and I was bartending at the time in the back up near Chicago, and I met somebody out and about, and they said you should try to get into furniture sales. And I went, what? So I mean, in terms of my path, so I decided to apply just in direct sales, and it was planning on being a in between job, maybe 6 months before I found what I really wanted to do. But I discovered that I had a knack for it. Did sales for about a year and a half before I got into a leadership role. And just like Kathy said, is that the most rewarding thing that we can do is to help build our teams, build our people, personal development, and then everyone else's development as well. So that's kind of my journey into retail. But I'm really happy that Steinhofels picked me up in 2021 after I had lost my job the year prior, and it's been a great company to work for, and just to learn how a well-run retail company works compared to one that has maybe some problems. So
I'm going to come back to that, the difference between well-run and not at a little bit later time. Tommy, you went to school here, you graduated here in 2019, you interned with Sherwin, correct? And now you're on the commercial side of things. What were your initial feelings about doing the retail to start with? And what would you tell students that are potentially in a similar situation where they're going to go into retail, maybe to leverage it towards commercial or to stay in retail long term?
Yeah, so upon graduating in 2019, it was my senior year. I had extra semester since I changed my major. Um, I wasn't entirely sure what I was looking to do. I wanted to get into some type of medical or pharmaceutical sales, and I was in an urgent need for a summer internship or a summer job to continue in the next semester. So doing the Sherwin-Williams internship, immediately the thought of retail was like, oh, stocking shelves, working with customers. And um, I thought in my background of like, oh, you go into the mall, you go into the store and you buy XYZ. That was my understanding of it at first. I didn't understand that there was a bigger picture involved with it. So um, as I got through the internship, I realized, hey, it's not just 25 or like not just all B2C. There's also portions of it that are unknown of B2B. And that's really what gauged my interest and involvement with the company. And then on top of it too is just the career progression that allowed me to get to where I am. But going through the various leadership roles and seeing how we can provide value to not only our B2C customers, but also our B2B customers, from taking them from start to finish or activating a new account or a new customer that may have not shopped from us, and then seeing the reward and value that we're bringing them in the end, just through the customer service and the knowledge that we have. Is probably the most rewarding part that I found is just being able to to take someone from point A to point B. And then also on the management side that I work with, I manage 3 full-time employees, 2 part-time employees, and I run 3 different drivers. So I have a plethora of responsibilities, but being able to teach someone something and be able to implement it without having to like stay there along the way, I think that's the most rewarding thing. And then also just throughout my career is seeing someone go from a part-time sales associate role or an intern that I may have talked to here at one of the career fairs or events, and then seeing them complete their career progression. I've had multiple instances where I was able to mentor them and teach them different ways to navigate their career, and then also elevate their career as well.
Excellent, thanks. Matt, not quite as far into your career as Tommy is, still very much embedded in the retail side of things, if I understand it correctly. Talk to us about working on the retail side of Sherwin-Williams.
So before working for Sherwin, most of my jobs were more of the line cook, server, bartender. I actually worked for Fat Jack's here for a while. I cooked there. I mean, they made some good wings, but it doesn't doesn't add up to kind of what retail's kind of come out to be. Like Tommy said, when I first kind of stepped into the role, I was under the understanding that I would probably more than likely just be stocking shelves and just ringing people up. But the biggest thing that I kind of took from my experience so far with Sherwin is that you're not just tinting paint and sending it out the door. You're really, when people walk in, we want to be able to sell the experience. We have multiple principles that we have to follow that guide us on how to treat customers because most of them, I have more homeowners than, say, a commercial store. So a lot of them don't know exactly what they're doing and they're expecting us to kind of be the guide to show them. That aspect of B2C is kind of something that you learn when doing the internship and everything else. It's a really good way to kind of build up to doing the B2B side as well. Because with these contractors, a lot of times we as a company are innovating products as we go. So we're learning just as well as they are. So it's up to us to provide them with the products that they need. A lot of times issues come up. That's been probably the worst part about managing is having to be thrown into situations that you weren't prepared for and you just have to be able to stay on your feet and use your resources to fix what needs to be done.
Very cool. Thanks for that information. Kathy, I want to jump back to you, and we'll probably work our way down the line again. But again, as always, feel free to jump in. When you tell somebody what you do, what do they think of, or another way to phrase that question, what are the biggest myths about being in retail?
Yeah, I think you guys touched on it, but I think when we talk about retail, right, we think about, I don't know, going into a Macy's and getting rung up. At the end of the day, as a store manager with Steinhoffels, I manage a team of 60. I have 5 leaders, 2 leads who are kind of developing their careers. So it's a lot more multifaceted, right? There's a lot more energy put into developing individuals as opposed to just ringing up furniture. And then on the actual sales side of it, there is retail where you walk into a store, you say, "This is what I want," and you get checked out. But then there's sales, which is at the end of the day, kind of more so what we do. So when a customer comes in and says, "I need a sectional at Steinhoffels," your job as a sales professional then is to continue to getting to know them a little bit more, right? So you're going to ask all these qualifying questions and you're going to provide solutions that maybe the guest doesn't know that they need yet. And that's really what makes you successful. I have an entire team of commissioned sales associates. If all they did was ring up what the guest said they were ready to purchase, I don't think any of them would be making 6 figures. But that's the other thing. 6 figures is completely realistic selling furniture at Steinhoffels. And it's because we're well known, it's because we have a good reputation, and it's because we have the best associates and the best culture, I would say.
Excellent, thanks. Michael, do you want to add on to that? What are your views or what are your takeaways for biggest myths about retail?
I guess the biggest myths about retail is, I think we've all said it, is that you walk into a store and you pick what you want and then somebody rings you up. But yeah, I think uh just a myth in general about retail is that you have to work 70 hours a week to make the kind of money that you want to make, especially if you're in commission sales. I have known multiple individuals that work 37 and a half hours per week that make more than $120,000 a year selling furniture. Um, and it's really, really phenomenal to see that. I'm sure that Kathy can agree with that as well. But yeah, that's kind of a Joe job. That's a myth too, right? If you were to meet somebody out and about and say, "Hey, what do you do for a living? How do you support your family?" "Well, I sell furniture and mattresses," and no one would really believe you. But it's a great way if you have a knack for it, if you really care about the customer. I think that is also a myth as well, is that salespeople working with you in a showroom, whether it be any industry, people think that they're just, after themselves, and that's not the case at all. They really do care about their customers, and that's kind of the culture that we have built at Steinhoffels, and when we want to keep on going.
I was just thinking about that too. I think a big myth, whether it's retail or sales, right? But if you're going to go into big ticket or at least be eligible to be making 6 figures, that it's kind of dog eat dog or it's really aggressive sales floor or it's not a fun culture. But it should be, right? If it's going to be a job that's going to keep you for 40 years. And I think that that's true about any toxic workplace. Like, it doesn't have to be sales or retail. If it's not an healthy place to work at, it just isn't a healthy place to work at. And that doesn't really have to do with whether you're commission based or sales or anything.
Tommy?
I would say I'm gonna be basically saying the same thing, but yeah, it's to me like the biggest myth on in retail is you're bringing out customers, you're stocking shelves, you're doing all this, but in the grand scheme of things, there's a lot more behind the scenes that I think most people don't realize. And what I mean by that, especially if in the management aspect, you're dealing, at least me and Matt are also dealing with the terms of HR, finance, scheduling, inventory management, supply chain aspects. So we're working with a bunch of cross-functional teams within Sherwin-Williams. So we're working with people that are in Cleveland, Ohio. We're working with people that are potentially in California for architectural account executives for different marketing plans and things like that. So it's not just specified to one specific location, and it's not just, hey, you're doing the repeated thing every day in and out. Every day is going to be a new day. You don't know who's going to come through the door. You don't know what they're going to buy. You don't know what questions they're going to ask. But those experiences are going to help set you up for other opportunities available in the future, whether it's a question that somebody has or an experience that you can help another customer relate to. I think those are some of the things that we almost forget about, and those are probably the most impactful and meaningful pieces.
You got to take the wins, right? You got to hang on to those. Matt, do you want to add anything to this one?
I mean, they kind of covered a lot of it. I mean, one of the myths I've heard was, and I've kind of seen it come through to fruition, but a lot of people think if you're working retail, a lot of the times you're in there to clock in, clock out, just do what you need to do and get out. But at least working where I am, it really does take a lot of emotion and you put a lot of care into what you do. Like, I have a customer right now whose house got torn up by a tornado, so I've been working with him a lot, kind of helping him find contractors, finding the best stuff to cover up all the water damage. And it's a lot of the times you'll have just random cases, but you'll get one every now and then they'll kind of touch your heart and you're like, I'm sorry this happened to you. And just putting forth the effort to show you care is what helps to create kind of a customer retention.
Thanks, Matt. Tommy, I'm going to come back to you right away, and then I'll work my way down because I kind of want to give Kathy the last shot at this one. 7 years in, what do you look for in people that you hire now? When you're looking to bring on somebody new, when somebody's coming to join the team, what is Sherwin-Williams looking for in a new hire?
Think some of the biggest things that at least I'm looking for, especially if I'm hiring at the branch level, and I think um, whether it's internship or full-time level after postgraduate, is just the willingness to learn and having the ability to just be open. Um, I think that's going to go a long way of like, hey, you're not going to know everything right away, but if you have the attitude and then the mental like fortitude to say, hey, I want to learn this, I want to put some effort in and learn the business, I think that's going to help me help you, especially if it's whether it's personal or business related goals or career progression goals. Because I just have a better understanding of like, hey, this is where you are, this is how I can help you get there. And then I have the I can attest to my experiences of like, hey, there's multiple avenues I can go through. Um, but yeah, someone that's being able to communicate, be able to be open, um, willing and not afraid to make mistakes. I think that's the other portion. I think all of us are too hard on ourselves, and I myself, I'm afraid to make mistakes, but I'm not going to learn if I don't make them and act on them. So it's a plethora of things, but I would say those three components would be the biggest ones for me.
Okay, thank you. Michael, as you're bringing people into your store, what are you looking for new associates?
Well, if it's sales, I like someone that has a competitive attitude, like healthy competition. Um, when I did sales, that's what drove me, was that I wanted to be at the top of the leaderboard or close to it. but competitiveness, and just a need to be the best. I think that is something that, if we're talking support staff role, I don't think that's, necessarily the same thing. If I'm hiring a housekeeper or whatnot, but for sales, I'm looking for an individual that is competitive.
I think 20 years, multiple industries, multiple locations. What are the common threads? Same question that you look for, but moreover, what are the common threads that make a successful person in retail, whether it's this industry or other industries? How do we connect those dots?
I think the two biggest things would be mental stamina, right? And emotional intelligence. I think when we're speaking with strangers all day and we're trying to navigate what their perspective of value is, you really have to be open to understanding what that means to them versus what we know it to mean. So even the value of a dollar, right? When your customer walks in and says that they have a budget, is that really their budget? Or if I have them fall in love with something more, will financing fix that budget? Or if they really, really love something and they can't do financing, right? How do I navigate that conversation and make sure that they still feel leaving like a really valued client? I think on top of that, the hardest part of sales is the rejection that kind of builds on top of itself. So getting told no once when you're having a really good day doesn't really matter. But when you have a day maybe where you go home with $0 and you're commissioned, like that's a lot harder. So how do you come back the next day and not let it become a bad week? And so even sometimes in the same day, it's really dead for maybe 2 or 3 hours, right? You're walking around the same sales floor, staring at the same 10 other peers. How do you make yourself get to the head of that pack when that next customer does come into the building? And so those are the two things that are going to differentiate success as well as longevity.
So those are the skills we're looking for. Matt, I'm going to start with you on this one. On a day in and day out basis, or what does an average day look like for you?
So typically the first minute in there, I'm checking my emails and I'm going over any kind of issues from the previous day because those are the first things I want to address. A lot of the times things get pushed off till the end of the day and I can't be there 24/7. So hopefully with proper communication, I have a heads up for anything that might be going on that day. But going forward, I kind of like to prep out the day. I have a few people that work for me. I have an assistant and two part-timers. So a lot of the times when I'm in the store in the morning, I'm checking out to see what needs to be done. A lot of times figuring out what needs to be prioritized and what needs to be taken care of. Um, and then throughout the day, just checking in, seeing progress on what needs to be done, how we're coming along, following up with customers. I mean, I'm not always ringing out every customer, but I do like to check in when I have the chance, like, hey, how's it going? Is there anything you have concerns about? And throughout the day, just maintaining constant communication with both customers and the team to make sure that nothing's nothing's going wrong that I have to address.
Tommy, over the years, I'm sure your day in and day out duties have changed. What do they look like now?
I also just want to touch, I mean, even though we are retail focused,
Yep.
we are very heavily emphasized on sales. Like that's what Matt and I get performed on and like are appraised on. So if we're not selling, we're not doing our job. So even though it is retail, that is a key component of our jobs. But an average day nowadays will typically look like I open the store at 6 o'clock. And from the get go, I could have people at the door getting ready for their commercial projects. So there could be busy rushes of people ordering for the projects that they should have ordered for yesterday or the day before, which isn't uncommon. But I'm typically taking care of those customers that are coming in right away in the morning, answering calls, checking emails for orders that may have came in later in the night. And then as the day goes on and my team comes in, that's when I'm starting to navigate away from some of those like whirlwind tasks, you could call it, that technically aren't my primary responsibility, but just temporarily. So that's where I'm starting to get involved with some of our like our cross-functional teams. So working with our outside sales reps that we have in our Madison area, coming up with strategies and communicating on any of the lead measures that we're looking at. So whether that's call activity, making sure that we're following up on what's next and when, those types of items that we can use to update our customer relationship overviews with on our like our CRM platform, because we do utilize that to retain information that is relevant to that customer. And then from there, we're also I'm taking the time to do anything in terms of inventory management, checking how we're doing on for sales throughout the day, and then I'm actively always looking at different lead measures that I could be making an impact on to eventually lead to the lag measures. So any of the previous day history, the previous sales activity, um, just to make sure I'm meeting my goals and exceeding those goals as a store manager. And pretty
Fantastic.
much going home and after that.
We'll get back to work-life balance and how do we turn it on? How do we turn it off, right? Like how do we separate? Michael, I want to give you a shot at this one. Day in and day out, or what's a day look like for a store manager for you guys?
No day's the same.
No day's the same.
Every day is different. You know, in running a building, you know, I found that some days can look very much, you know, chop it up into like a cookie cutter, right? Come in, check pertinent emails, develop a inspirational sales meeting for your sales team, work with your merchandising staff if we have new displays coming out, how we want our stores to look, if we're doing any store moves, anything like that. That's the day in and day out, you know. But and also helping customers, but really, uh, what's what's interesting about Steinhoffels is that we have this role of either general manager or store manager, but a lot of times titles don't matter as much when you're a leader, and you can be tasked with. Our senior leadership could task you with, like for the last couple of years, Kathy has written our selling game book for the entire company. She works with another team of a couple of store managers as well, but she really takes that and hey, that's our loss now, right? Like, hey, this is how we're going to be selling as a company. So you usually each store manager is tasked with a different task throughout the company that you're able to do, and you can make change. You know, you could send an email to our vice president and say, "Hey, I think our process should work like this instead," and then they could go, "Oh, that's a really good idea. We're going to start doing that this week." You know, so um, so very much so, we're very forward thinking. We want to get ahead of. So something that we did when COVID hit was we bought all the furniture that we could because when it was gone, it was gone, and it was lucky to have stock because nobody else did, and everybody wanted to redo their homes. So a day in the life is every day is different. You just have to tackle it. There will be some normal day-to-day tasks, but then you can get thrown into a crazy project too. So it's a lot of fun.
Kathy, writing your what did Michael call it? Selling game book. And to some of what Michael said, it sounds like a very collaborative environment, which I don't think is the image that we would have of retail. How collaborative is the environment for you guys?
I would say very. I mean, like Mike says, right? We have definitely open doors, not just as a phrase, as a policy, but truly, like, I'm on the phone every day with HR, and it's not because somebody's in trouble every day, right? It's because I'm brainstorming with them or I'm trying to be proactive about things. In terms of my role as a GM is literally what is the end goal and how far along am I in that process to reaching it? So I have a team of 4 or 5 leaders, and their jobs then consist of the daily grind of maintaining the sales floor, managing the sales team, making sure the merchandising team is staying productive, display is up to date, right? All of those other little moving parts. My job then is to support them and to have them have a sounding board for their proposed solutions. And so it's collaborative between the sales associates. They know that they can come to us and say, hey, you know what? For example, we just extended our closing hours at certain key stores in certain markets. And so one of my sales associates came yesterday and he said, you know what? in the interim, while customers are getting to know that we're open this extra hour, would you be open to, you know, A, B, or C? And I was like, absolutely, right? If it doesn't hurt me, it's not going to hurt us. Point blank, period. So if you want to try that, it's going to make your life a little bit easier, a little bit happier for you to come to work. Like, let's give it a shot. And so I think that that's kind of the mentality that everyone in the company has.
Michael, earlier you mentioned well-run organization versus not well-run organization, and we're drifting towards a conversation about culture and organizational culture, which is again not something that we really think of in retail, right? Like the retail imagery is very much of a grind type of industry or imagery. Can you expound a little bit on the difference between well-run and not well-run? And I'm not looking for you to bus toss anybody. It's more of a how do we know, right? Like most of these students are going to be going for their first real full-time career length type of position. How do we sort out what does well run look like versus not?
I would say just the previous company that I had worked with, Art Van Furniture, were run very similar to Steinhoffel's, but there's some key things. They actually used to, their senior leadership teams used to partner together and to, when they were not in competing markets, to figure out, you know, the best processes and whatnot. Hey, what's going on with this company down in North Carolina that they're doing so well? Let's talk with them, right? But I think the consolidation of certain tasks and just coming from a company that we used to keep filing cabinets full of reports that would never get checked ever again, but they had to be done every single day. And we don't do that here. It's all filed electronically and like just different aspects and you know, the things that your company is willing to do for associates. We all have employee perks in terms of, you know, we've partnered with the Milwaukee Bucks and the Brewers, and we're both partners with both the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears as well. I know, right? Here we go. Yeah. But yeah, I think that you know, being a company that's open to hearing uh, any one of your staff to build a better process. You know, in the previous company I worked with, it wasn't like that. Everything was dictated, and you know, you just kind of had to fall in line.
I think even more strategically there, that kind of reminded me during COVID, I was in the Madison market at the time, and literally next door to me was an Ashley furniture store. And so when we started running low on product as a market, customers used to come in because we were delayed on certain things. And so they would come in and say, you know, the timelines everywhere are like 20 weeks plus. Like I'm not waiting a year, you know, for my sofa. Like, what can you do for me? Can you sell me the floor model? And we always said no, just because if I know I'm still getting more of that sofa in, if I sell you my floor model, there's no way I'm moving through the rest of my product but until it comes in again. And Ashley did start selling their floor product because they wanted to make that guest in front of them happy. And so then they lost probably millions of dollars in the interim months and product that they could have sold. So just really small things that could affect you immediately. Like, do I need the revenue right now, top line sales, or do I need to protect my profitability long term?
Sometimes it is the little things, right, that make the difference between great and not great. Tommy, after 7 years at Sherwin, what have you found out about that organization that's kept you there?
So yeah, I would say, especially as you guys are entering into the workforce, I think the biggest things that you're gonna wanna, I mean, what's the difference between like a well-run company versus one that may not be, is gonna be sorry, I didn't know if it was on or not. So like I think the biggest things as you guys are entering the workforce of like what's gonna be important for a company that's is successful is one that's able to implement and like say like the why behind the what. I mean, I think nowadays is like my generation, we're curious. We want to know why. We want to know why is this important? Why does this matter? How does this benefit us? How does it benefit the company? How does it benefit me as an individual? So being able to have a company that's able to be as transparent and have the communication of like, hey, this is why we're doing it. This is why it's important. This is why it's going to bring you success, you know, because not only do they want you to be successful, but they also want the company to be successful too. Um, and also just having mentors and leaders that are going to be able to be transparent and open to new ideas, and being able to support you and be in your corner. I think that's going to be the biggest thing that I would say. no matter what career path you guys are looking to take.
Yeah, kind of going off of that, one of the things that Sherwin kind of highlights when you join them is that they invest in their employees, whether that be sending you out to Cleveland for trainings as both an assistant manager or a manager, or having you do the trainings that all employees have to do. One thing about Sherwin is as soon as you get in, they get you started on any kind of training that they can throw at you, because the way we set ourselves apart from our competition is being more knowledgeable. You go to a Home Depot, a Menards, there's people that were working in lumber one day, they're in paint another. So a lot of times they come to us for the expertise. So by investing in their employees, they provide both their customer base and us with the opportunity to really show what we know.
One other thing too, I mean, strong financial success is another key characteristic on it. Um, at Sherwin-Williams, we offer 100% matching for up to 6% on 401k. So from what I've been told and firsthand experience, the manager that I work alongside with, who's my assistant manager, he'll be turning 55 and he'll be retiring a multimillionaire. So the ability to, I mean, he's worked at the company for 30 plus years and he's going on 33, but he's able to provide for his family for long-term goals and success, and being able to do that at the age of 55, I think is phenomenal, and being able to retire. Um, but I mean, the companies does have to make hard decisions. So has been times where we've had to suspend the matching, but the communication will come back. For example, when we receive communication of, hey, we're going to implement the 401k matching back, and we're going to prorate everything that you've contributed in the meantime. So not many companies can go back and say, hey, I know that we suspended and we paused. We're going to put the matching back, and we're going to go back and repay and prorate it based on what you were doing. So I think reinvesting it back into the employees, even during difficult times, is a benefit that I see and I value.
We've touched on a lot that makes both of your organizations stand out as quality places to work for, right? And one of the things that's come up from both of you a couple of times is work-life balance, right? And kind of managing that work-life balance. The retail side of things, believe it or not, a little trickier than the business-to-business side, and I've worked both, right? How do your organizations, and especially you guys as leaders, as managers, how do you foster a solid work-life balance for a location that might be open 12 or 14 hours during a day, longer hours on holidays, weekend hours, things like that? What do your organizations do? What do you guys do individually to make sure that your staff is well taken care of?
So Steinhoffels is an example. We have both hourly and commissioned associates. So our commissioned associates get what we call vacation pay as full-timers. So they're not necessarily eligible for PTO because they're not paid like that. So what happens is once a year on their anniversary, they get their average pay for the amount of hours that they've earned in just one fat check. They can do that with that whatever they want. And so then they have those hours to use throughout the year to cover like their balance of hours, right? To maintain their full-time status. Um, Outside of that, we also have, like Mike said, a lot of different perks that we kind of encourage the sales associates, the hourly associates, the leaders in the building to use whenever they do have the time off. In the sales floor, another thing we do is ensure that everybody has weekends. And so weekends, like actual Saturday, Sunday, are obviously high volume days for us, but we have schedules that are in place so that this is what you work this week and that's what you will always work until you tell me you need a change in your life. And so you can plan for a vacation 9 months from today if you wanted to. And we also have different things like, I mean, leadership, right? Even though we're salaried, we work maybe 42 hours max a week. And so I know my boss will call me if I'm edging higher than that, saying like, do you need support in your building, or what is happening that you feel like you cannot get to everything you need to get to in that allotted amount of time. And I think it's the same for my sales team. I have 3 different tiers. So we have part-timers, and then we have our own thing called part-time plus, which just has a little bit more availability for healthcare premiums, right? Like those additional benefits, it lets them work a little bit more to earn those, but they don't have to commit to full time if they can't or don't want to. And so I have individuals that are working 32 hours a week, making six figures, and they don't have to work that fifth day if they don't want to. So they can just spend that with their family, do another job if they want to, invest that time with their kids and vacationing, whatever they need.
Fantastic. Those are all great things. Michael?
Yeah, I'll touch on that as well. As that I was surprised. I didn't know that there was a such thing as being a part-time plus with a 4-day work week before Steinhoffel's. I was like, if you offered me that, especially if I was going to get into sales, I would have taken that offer up immediately, because it's really cool. It's a 4-day week schedule, but you still get to have health benefits for yourself and your dependents, which is yes. Oh, and ESOP, yeah. So something that we maybe have not touched on yet is that we are employee owned as well. So we did that in 2021, I believe. It was something that was talked about when I was first interviewing with the company. So that's going to be an employee stock ownership program. So Steinhoff has been around for about 92 years, I believe, if I'm correct in that. And it was always family owned, and basically the heirs would purchase it from the previous owners, and the company got so big, and the only heir that was interested in working with the company was Andrew Steinhoffel. So he's actually our president, and but we are employee owned, still family run, and every year all associates get divvied out shares based on personal income, and that you can be seen as a bank or a retirement fund, uh, yeah, and our stock price changes every year, but it's something to think about too, is that when, like, if I'm ordering for the store, we are employee owned. So if I'm buying a supply and it's something that we don't need, that's something that I can check off the list in terms of a well-run company or a not well-run company, right? So, but we have that for our associates as well. So yeah, everybody gets shares divvied out every year once you become eligible.
Tommy or Matt want to take a shot at how do you guys support your reports, your direct reports, in maintaining a good work-life balance?
You're looking just for like my specific branch?
Sure, or the company, both.
Let's say as a company as a whole, I touched upon the 401k matching, the 6%, and that's just one of the main benefits that I see too. But in terms of like throughout the years in my experience with the company, I've seen multiple changes. So in terms of uh, when I first started, we were open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that's when I was an intern. I was like, that is a long day. So, I mean, that's definitely makes for a long week, long day, difficult to staff, and it's puts strain on all employees. But over time, like as soon as COVID hit, we immediately shortened our hours just because we saw the amount of time and like opportunity to have customer interaction face to face. And so from there, we actually shortened our hours, I believe, to like 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. So it was a significant decrease, and everyone was like very happy about it. And so to go back when COVID was starting to get back to very minimal levels, everyone was wondering, hey, are we going to go back to 8 p.m. or are we going to go back to 7 p.m. type deal? So we ended up staying. I mean, for me, I'm open till 5. Matt's open till 6. So not nearly as long of days that we're experiencing, but other opportunities that we recently in the past, I would say 5 years now, we're offering paternity leave. So for myself, in a month, I'll be being able to go on paternity leave for 2 weeks and not have to worry about operating a commercial branch, and being able to spend my time with my wife and my kid. But then also just in terms of the HSA and then FSA, just the healthcare and insurance benefits, we have awesome opportunities to take advantage of those and any benefit marketplace items for discounts as well. On my side of things, I mean, I like to reward positive activity at my commercial branch. So if we're excelling and we're going above and beyond sales and gallon expectations, like I'm not gonna be like, oh, this is all me. For example, I was able to take the time out of my end of the year and just host like a thank you at like a Top Golf situation for my entire branch. So being able to give like and say thank you, like, hey, I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. I can't do it without you. It's not just a one man show. buying lunch throughout the week occasionally. I mean, I'm not going to just do the typical standard pizza party with soda. That's not how I roll. I like to change it up and be like, hey, what are we eating for lunch this week? How can I say thank you besides a pizza? Um, but things like that, right? I like to hold internal competitions and show recognition that way, so that they know that they're doing a great job and they're valued.
Matt, what about you at your store level?
So I'll just start out by saying any kind of retail, it's going to take a little bit to fully kind of get into a habit where you do have that good work-life balance. It helps so that the company does quite a bit to help us out with that. Um, for instance, Tommy mentioned earlier that we are pretty much budgeted and we get paid bonuses based on certain metrics. One of them is we have to have a certain percentage of sales to hours worked. So for a store like his, he's able to have more people and kind of have a larger staff to work with. But I mean, his store also demands it. Where mine, I'm a little bit smaller, so a lot of the time I don't have the hours that my employees are looking for. I have a part timer who just graduated from here back in spring, and he's trying to take every hour he can get, but there's only so much I can give. But one of the things we've been able to do is we're implementing a new pod system, which is basically stores sharing employees in a certain area. For me in the Beloit area, I share with Janesville, so a lot of those hours that I can't give him, bigger stores in that area can. And they're also trying to utilize the system to get us to a 40-hour work week, which I would very much like. 'Cause for the first, I'd say, couple of months of working for Sherwin, I was definitely nowhere near 40. I can say that for a fact. But like I said, with time, you learn how to schedule your employees to an area where you're getting the time you need to decompress, because working with customers for 9 to 10 hours a day can really make you want to do nothing but lay on the couch and do nothing.
It's an interesting process, right? And interesting strategies in from all of you, from all of your stores, right? To try to manage the workload and get everybody what they need out of it. Questions from the audience, questions from you guys. We have them. Cool. I have more questions, but promise the time. So I want to hear from each of you. So we heard to kick things off, we heard about the win by the marketing team here and in the AMA marketing competition. And a lot of the students here are headed in the marketing direction instead of the sales direction. So talk to me a little bit about how your organizations use your marketing departments and how that dovetails into the work that you do on a day in and day out basis. And we can start wherever you'd like.
So as a manager, we wear a lot of hats. A lot of you that did the competition today, I'd compare it to kind of Sam, where we're definitely having to do both manager and sales from our store. And our new system that we have set up, this is something kind of cool, but we utilize AI now to find opportunities that we might be missing out on. This is something that our marketing team implemented about 5 months ago, but it'll outline areas that need to be addressed immediately, ones that can wait, and ones just to keep on the back burner. But it does, when you go into a customer's account, you can see what AI believes we can do to help them grow, what strategies we can follow. And now we have different ways to set up action plans to follow through.
That system was put in place by your marketing department?
By Sherwin in general, but I believe.
Okay. Fantastic. Tommy?
Yeah, I think I've touched upon this one in the past couple of years. We came out with like a new customer relationship management. So monitoring our sales activity, lead generations to provide to our sales reps and to retain that information. So essentially they're able to use customer information in terms of spend, share of wallet, the amount of gallons that they buy a year, things of that sort. And it's able to come up with like next best actions of like, hey, this customer has potential to buy primer. This customer has potential to buy different supplies. So it really provides like a layup for that type of aspect. And then just going into like some of our other marketing aspects of our business. One of the other tools that they just recently implemented is like a color matching tool. So you could take a picture of this scene or this setting. You can select a specific area on the wall, and it can actually come up with different complementary colors through the use of AI and updates in technology. I mean, we're always evolving our color matching capabilities so that we're making sure that our customers are satisfied with some of the matches that they'll bring in if they don't know where or what they got 10 years ago. But just the communications that we get, most of the marketing communications that we get internally is going to be on different promotions. For example, we had our Blue Bucket sale, which is 35% off supplies. So utilizing our in-store signage, making sure that we're making different displays that can inspire creativity. So the homeowners that typically see it or the contractors that come in, they really appreciate like all the event and time that goes into it because one, there's free lunch and they love free lunch. And then two, they just get to see all the different designs throughout the area. And then on top of that, it's promoting our like e-commerce sort of platform, which we call Pro Plus. So customers and homeowners are able to actually order paint online, very similar to Amazon. They can get it shipped to their house for free. So if you wanted to order paint, a gallon of paint, you could order it online and it can get delivered out to you for free. So we're making advances in technology in multiple different avenues or segments, I guess you could say.
So marketing very much involved, very much helping you find and maintain the customer base that you have. Michael and Kathy, how does your marketing team aid in the work that you do? What's your role with it? How do they help you guys with your jobs?
First off, really good communication. So we'll typically receive either daily or weekly from our vice president of marketing communications that go out to all the store leaders of, hey, these are the upcoming promotions, what's going on, and basically how to implement that within our store because everyone that's working in our stores is technically in marketing too. I mean, if we're running multiple different promotions, how many of those can we fit into a 15 to 30 second, either radio commercial, television, digital ad. So really coming up with strategy and how to help communicate that to our customers coming in the door. But also something that we've done within the past couple of years is work with outside companies that do data research and will take foot traffic of different stores and what kind of foot traffic is going into the Ashley that's next door, or what's kind of foot traffic is going to that. Why is that Home Depot getting so much traffic? Should we try to market to that type of customer? So that's something that at the store level that we can see and just see different trends. And it takes all different types of demographics, income levels. It's a really cool program that we use so we can see that not only what we're trying to get into our building and what we can only have control over the customer, that's in our building, but to see what different buying patterns are and shopping patterns are as well. So that's something really good that our marketing team does. So, but we also do in the store as well.
Very sophisticated. Kathy, do you want to add to that one?
Yeah, just in general, I mean, being employee owners, right? We all have the same goal. And so our marketing department, very strong. I think we have a really strong group of VPs in general, but that advertisement team in general has really great communication. They're open to our feedback because we're the ones dealing with the guests every single day, hearing their concerns, overcoming those objections. And so to Michael's point, we have access to that program. So all of you guys have your cell phones on right now, right? I can literally log in and identify the percentage of my population in store, break it down by demographic. Where do they go prior to visiting me? Where do they go after visiting me? How many of them spent more than an hour in my store? What are their personal demographics? And so it's just a really great tool. But outside of that, I think partnering with all of those pro major league, right, sports teams in the markets helps us become a household name. So if you guys grew up in the state of Wisconsin, you're probably super familiar. Your parents have shopped at Steinhoffels, your grandparents have shopped at Steinhoffels. And so I think leveraging those relationships as well, a lot of, I would say 70 something percent, right, of our current business is repeat business. And so trying to grow that is really more generational than it is like boots on the ground. So.
All right. So we are almost out of time. I want to start with Matt. because you're the most recent graduate. Congratulations. Um, Advice that you would give to students as they make plans to finish up their college careers, graduate, head out into the job market.
The biggest thing that I would say is take advantage of every opportunity you have. Like both me and Tommy, we found this company through partners in the classroom. I graduated back in 23. I'm already running my own store. So if you take advantage of what this university provides you, do clubs like AMA that teach you the leadership skills that people look for when interviewing for jobs, and really just investing in everything you can, there'll more than likely be an avenue for you that will lead to success.
If I were to give you guys advice, I feel like I've had this question for me quite a bit. I'm gonna try and switch it up. I'm gonna see if this is different. But anyways, I would say the one most important thing is, I mean, you all will be very early on in your career. I think most of you will be very early on in your careers. So you're gonna make mistakes. Be open to making mistakes. You're gonna learn from them. You're gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be fine. I mean, just being open to learning and advancing your career, if that is your aspiration, just being as transparent as you're possible as possible with your mentors or your leaders of saying, hey, this is where I want to go, this is where I want to be. I'm coming to you. I'm looking to see how you can get me there, how I can get to your spot and eventually take it. I mean, for me, like my biggest thing is career progression because one, it's my competitive nature, and two, I mean, I want to be able to provide for my family and be able to reap the benefits of that later on. Um, and so I think just being as transparent and open as possible, like, hey, this is my goals in life. And I think it sets you up to understand where you are and where you're going and if it's a good fit for you. And if it's not, I mean, who knows, it could be the next opportunity or the next job that you're looking at. Um, so I would say just being open, being a sponge and being able to understand like, hey, mistakes are going to come and you're going to fall down and you're going to stand right back up.
Make mistakes and learn from them. Michael.
I think the major theme is going to be learning. So in this room right now, there is someone in here that is the smartest person in this room. I can guarantee you it's not me. All right. So wherever you go, whether it's your favorite class or your first, big career, find the smartest, most successful person that's happy. Okay. That's happy. If you're smart and successful but miserable, that's a different story. But find the most smart, successful person. It doesn't matter what their position is, but make sure to make that connection and learn from that person. Okay. It's taken me further in my career than anything else. I grew up at a time where it was seen as bad to have a mentor. Like, oh no, like I don't need a mentor. Everyone should have a mentor. Even the smartest person in this room right now should have a mentor. And I was lucky enough that on my first day that Kathy was my mentor. We actually were working out of Menominee Falls. I was doing my training there, and so I got to learn a lot from this very talented person here too. So that is my recommendation for you: is that find a successful person and learn from them.
Kathy, you get the last word on this one.
Yeah, I would just say ask really good questions and ask them all the time. I think, very similarly to your guys' points, find a mentor. It doesn't have to be in a formal capacity, but find somebody that inspires you, find somebody that holds you accountable. Eventually, you gain enough insight to do that for somebody else, right? And so once you gain it, pass it on. So I think that's the most valuable thing you can do.
All right. Thank you guys. Very much appreciate a round of applause for our panel. And then over to Mallory.
Alrighty. Thank you, panelists, and round of applause for Dave. Okay, so make sure everybody scans this QR code to sign in. It wasn't on in the beginning. That's all we have for you guys. But before you leave, come up and speak to our panelists. I'm sure they would love to talk to you guys. So everyone have a good spring break and be safe, and we will see you when we come back. Thank you again, partners.